Hey everyone, welcome back. This evening's video is brought to you by Grown Man Shave. And now again, for a 10% discount off your entire purchase, be sure to use the code the Traveling Shaver for that discount. Now the gear for the shave is I'm going to be using Melange from Barrister and Mann. This is the first time I've used this soap, although it is in the omnibus base, and I love the omnibus base. The brush is the Muhle hexagon with a synthetic knot in here. Everything has been whipped up in, where's the DR Harris ceramic bowl. You can kind of see the lather in there, not really. Now all of the equipment here is available at Grown Man Shave. The razor is going to be the Muhle Companion with a third use feather blade. And I'm going to be doing a head shave and kind of do an instructional-ish how to shave your head with the DE razor. So I just got out of the shower, but I'm going to make sure my head is nice and moisturized. Just like with a DE or traditional face shave, you want to make sure you know which way your hair grows. You want to make sure you have a nice hydrated lather and use a razor that you know well, especially if this is going to be one of your first times shaving your head with a DE. Now, I do recommend using a razor that is a little bit more on the mild side, mild but efficient for the little bit while you're getting used to shaving a head with a DE razor. The Muhle with the long skinny handle is kind of a really good option for that. Now I've been shaving my head kind of off and on for over a decade, but traditionally with DEs, SEs, Chevettes, straight razors, I've been doing that for a little over 2.5 years, almost 3. So the Companion is a fantastic razor to start with, as I mentioned, because that handle is long and it's lightweight, it's nimble. That head size also really helps as well. Now, with my hair, it grows this way and then kind of back and then down. I always start doing just straight front to back on the first pass, so I kind of go across the grain this way. And then kind of roll it around and then go down. And I can feel that cutting. And then behind the ears is always the little bit challenging part. But luckily there's not hair that grows right behind the ear. I can feel that cutting, I can hear it. I have not shaved the head since it's 3 days worth of growth or so. Not really usual for me to go this long without shaving. But also one thing you want to point out, you can again make sure your lather's nice and hydrated. You can start with your head straight up. You want to make sure your skin, especially behind in the back of your head, is taut or getting stretched, just like you would be if you're using a Chevette or a straight razor. The reason behind that is because the folds on the back of your neck are especially susceptible to nicks and cuts with safety razors because of the angle and the folds and everything that they have. You can be sure to use both sides of the blade, just like you do when you shave your head. Now, one thing that I was talking to my wife about this a little bit ago is with my head shaves, with the DE or whatever razor I'm using, as well as the Chevettes and straight razor shaves, I have no problem using my left hand to shave the left side or right side if I'm going against the grain or whatever I'm doing. But if I'm using a DE on my face, straight up right hand, no matter what I do. It's odd. I don't know why that is, but I can shave my head with my left hand and all that, no problem. Same with the Chevette. So then you want to make sure you're just going through, following the contours of your head. Now, also keeping that angle can be a little tricky, especially with razors that, like the Muhle, that have a little bit kind of a minimal blade exposure and minimal blade gap. Luckily, it does have a little bit of a wider sweet spot as far as when it's cutting and cutting comfortably than some razors. And you can see passes the Ewan test. So again, here I'm kind of going against or across the grain rather than with. And a lot of that's just for ease of when I'm shaving. I don't necessarily want to go down. I can just keep going the entire way, not just short strokes. Personal preference, I have done where I've gone down and just straight up against the, with the grain and then against the grain. For me, the shave's identical as far as how they work. So now you're going to go ahead and get the head wet again. Now you can use a mister if you have one. With my head, to make sure you get the back, I tend to just get my hands wet and get my head wet that way. Again, just simply reapply the lather. And this knot is a little bit, I don't know what size this is. They want to say it's like a 24. But it does a really nice job on building the lather and holding the lather. You know, if you're shaving your head, like I said, the main thing you want is make sure your lather is really well hydrated. You don't want the razor to drag at all, especially in the back of your head. You don't need a show lather like you see on many YouTube videos. You don't need it. Just slick, functional lather is all you need. All right, now against the grain. For my second pass, I'll go against the grain, so that's from south to north. And then on my side of the head, I'll kind of go up around the ears a little bit to get some of that. Again, find that angle. And then sometimes I'll just kind of tilt my head. I'll move my head and my hand at the same time as I'm shaving to get that area as well. Kind of like that, just bring it up. Keeping a very light pressure on the razor itself. Making sure to get that, maintain that angle to cut. Another reason why I bring my head up is to maintain that angle on that blade. That part of the head, I can't remember, I already know what it's called, but where it kind of jets out a little bit for the base of your skull, that can be a little bit challenging. But with razors, I tend to buff a little bit right there just to make sure I'm getting the hair cut. And also make sure you rinse so you don't clog your razor. Make it a little easier. A little bit of buffing on that area. And then continuing to rock the head and the hand. Light pressure again is very useful. And again, that's also why I want to use a razor that you're very familiar with. When you can feel the cutting, and you know how it's going to perform. Also, if you use a blade, with which you're familiar. So then after I do that, you know, I tend to go around and feel. There's usually a couple spots that are just trouble spots like I have on my face. I just go, and then usually with the opposite hand, I'll go up here. I can usually feel it or hear it cutting. back of the head is just all on feel. Just like if you go from using a cartridge razor to shaving with one of these on your head, it's all on feel. And then I will do a little bit of against the grain here. Again, to be sure to get that angle. Pull the ear down around here so you get the hair around the ear. Also, so you don't cut your ear. Because the hair right around your ear, right here, is always the hardest, at least for me to get. So I will kind of, if you saw that, I can tighten the skin there without my hands. So I kind of pull that back a little bit. And make sure I get that area. Now with the head, I don't always go for a BVS. I go for a comfortable shave where I can feel it. If there's not a lot of stuff left over, I'll clean up a little bit, but I don't necessarily need a BBS shave on the head. I just want a comfortable shave and make sure it's clean and felt good. That was a great one. Then usually what I do is I'll come in, kind of look right here around the ears. As I mentioned, that area is always really hard. If I've used a Chevette on my face, I will clean this up with the Chevette. Or you can come in, kind of pull up with your offhand and kind of go down and kind of get that area right there as well. And then this is where it comes in with my head, my opposite on my face, because this is the same motion, so I usually pull off with my left hand on the left side and go that route to clean up around the ear. If it's really bad, I'll come in here afterwards, because I can't see. I'll come in and clean this up a little bit more later if needed. Now, that's kind of how I shave my head. With, I go front to back, keep my head, I go down to pull the skin back here tight. This area right here can be a challenge going from south to north because it does jet out a little bit. That's why if you go down, it keeps that area flat. And then as you get to right about here, kind of the crown area, kind of rock your head, and that helps keep that angle as well. And then just around the ears can be a little challenging, easier with practice. If you're going to start, one thing I'd recommend, just like if you're going to be using a Chevette or something, is start with your comfortable, do a couple swipes. If that's all you're comfortable with, then stop. And then do it more each time. Eventually you'll be shaving your head front to back with a DE or a safety razor as if it were second nature, because it will be. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully you found this entertaining, informational, instructional, whatever you want to call it. I'm rambling, so thank you guys again for tuning in. Thank you to the old subscribers, new subscribers, those that aren't subscribed. I know there's about 50% of people that watch my videos that aren't subscribed. Hit that subscribe button below. Anyway, thanks again, and I'll catch y'all next time.